sometimes have coffee there. But my sense of the early years.
How early? How old?
Well, after when they were first married until Linda came
After the
along.
train, you'll tell us about the train.
After the train. But I've always in my mind imagined it sort of like a Jackie Gleason Honeymooners episode, you know? Alice, right to the moon, you know?
We're all in the family.
Yeah.
All in the family.
Well, the family is a latter day thing, but I think Jackie Gleason in that apartment.
The honeymooners.
Right, and then we were 3. And we lived on Wilson with my mother's parents upstairs.
Yeah.
And we would, my mother, we were the 3 of us and my mother. My father was hardworking and busy at work all the time. And so we would do these trips. For example, we would go to 2 blocks over to the hardware store on Moncton, which was an entire day's journey with the 3 kids because we were all going in 3 directions. Me in particular, because I would refuse to come. I would run away. She'd get in a cab. She'd say, "We're leaving you," and they get in a cab, the other 2 kids, and then they drive around the block. I still didn't get in the cab. She finally kind of fixed that because we went to Eaton's once, and I took off on the Eaton's, and she refused to fall, but she did keep an eye on me, but I was lost in Eaton's, a little boy, abandoned, very sad. And at the end of the day, after she'd done her shopping with Linda and Roseanne, I was tearful and really, really distressed. Although all these adults in Lost and Found were taking care of me, then she came to pick me up, and that sort of solved that problem, I think.
Yes,
never did that again.
Never again.
And there was but we got it back to because Mom had this thing about afternoon naps, as I recall.
Yeah.
So she felt we had to have afternoon naps.
She needed it.
But in the end, she would fall out exhausted chasing us around, and she would have an afternoon nap, and we would be up because it wasn't possible to synchronize the 3 of us. And of course, we lived downstairs. Upstairs were Bubby and Sadie and Fritzy, the dog. And Fritzy was in the basement. We had all those dogs.
They had the stairs.
At the time, we were sort of in teams because Linda, you know, the first daughter, occupied and still does occupy a very important role. Yeah. And so that's right. And so you'll see it in old 8mm films of the family. Linda and my mother had the same ski hat, the same ski jacket. They were the girls, and Roseanne and I were
They were
the
only
kids.
4 years apart, but Linda looked like my second mother.
Right. That's right. It's
She's
just
always
how it was.
dressed like my mother. It was funny.
So then came Bruce, and this was a monumental moment in all of our lives, and that really prompted the move to Côte St. Luc. So of course there were 4 children by the time we met my mother. Bruce was my roommate, and he was the greatest roommate you could imagine. I was the teacher, and I would call on imaginary kids in the class. They all got the wrong answers, but Bruce always had the right answer.
Did you listen to him?
Fantastic.
Didn't know any better, yes.
And it was a time my mother, the rebel, wasn't so comfortable with the idea of moving into suburbia. She was still a proletarian, and we moved in there, and we did all the same things that Archie Bunker and that Jackie Gleason and Alice did. We had the TV set in the living room, and this was very upsetting to those of us kids trying to socialize. We were trying to fit into Côte St. Luc. So moving that TV into the den was a very big deal, but it was against resistance, right? And you know, then the show, we became very, very connected there. And then we started leaving home, and this connects up with the things that Roseanne said, and doing many things that as adults that you do, and we can now sort of envision ourselves in Mom's and Dad's position as parents and our own kids. And so I think we do. We all agree that we learned an awful lot from you, and we count on you to continue teaching. All of our kids count on you. So we're expecting you to carry on.
Yeah, big expectations.
Looking for big things from you.
Happy birthday.
didn't even know what I was gonna talk about, because everybody's handled everything. But there, as you talked, like for example,
Yeah.
my mother left school at the age of 14 to take care of her siblings and her mother, and didn't finish high school. And in her 40s,
Way before him. She was all looking after, they were all looking after the kids.
okay, but I'm saying it became an official thing. She had to give up her education and stay home because her mother wasn't well and she needed help and blah, 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 blah. We won't go into the details, but if you want, we can give you them sometime.
As
Anyway,
soon as you finish that.
she was she's been, as we all know, an extremely devoted and dutiful, she was a dutiful daughter, she's a dutiful sister to her siblings and surrogate mother to them as well over all the years. But at some point, she, you know, the kids, she was sort of hanging around us and not quite sure what she was going to do with her life. And we said to her, Mom, you know, you should think about maybe going back to school. So she went to the Thomas More Institute and took courses there, and she realized how good she was at it, that she ended up going, thank you so much, Gerald, I really, and Roseanne and Stephen, Bruce, sorry. I just connect you so much that I just, anyway. Well, Stephen, yeah, thanks, Stephen. Anyway,
It's either Bruce or Steve, you have to choose.
well, both of them. Anyway, so she went to Thomas More, she did so well that she decided to look into university and went to Concordia University and graduated from university at what age were you?
23, 24.
That's what I thought.
With Bertha,
45.
Bertha, weren't you,
Yeah.
did you graduate together?
Yes, we did. So that was like a huge thing. Then she had a very terrible experience with cancer, but somehow not only came out of that, but went on to become very involved in volunteering, Hope and Cope, and all kinds of other spin-offs from that. And, you know, even though she's extremely well-read and persistent and perseverant, she's still, as everybody said, is still a very big learner, still very willing to try new things. So over the years, she and I've sort of taken her off the path here and there along the way. The year that Stephen and Roseanne were living in Israel, we went to visit them, I don't know if you remember, and I took a little sojourn on my own for a while, and then I came and picked Mom up, and we traveled together. We went to a Druze village. Can you imagine my mother in a Druze village? And we met a man in the market who invited us for coffee, and me and my mom went for coffee in a Druze house. And, you know, we never saw the wife. She went and made coffee and whatever, served sweet, but he brought it from the kitchen, and we sat there talking, and Mom was, as long as there, I guess maybe I provided some level of familiarity and stability, she was okay with it. And so, I can't remember what other crazy things I've taken her on a path with, but most recently, in the last few years, because I know that she loves Mamalosh in Yiddish, encouraged her to join me at Class Canada, and it's been fun. You know, I love it. I think it's a fabulous place, and I think that you have to. And hopefully, we're going to continue to meet up in the Laurentians at Camp Brith, Class Canada, for many, many, many more years, so we can sing and dance and walk backwards up the hill for Shabbat, which you still haven't experienced, because you insist on being back home, even though you know that Dad's in very good hands now. Maybe this coming summer, you'll do that. We'll have to see. Anyway, happy birthday, and you know I love you, and we all love you.
Okay, so now how do I respond?
Wait, maybe, is there anybody else want to say something?
Auntie Esther wants to speak.
You'll have to respond to everybody in this.
That's right. Still.
So I just want to say that Gertie and our friendship is very recent in the scheme of things. I mean, it goes back, what, about 20 years? Maybe? And somehow we connected right away. I look to her for a kind of guidance, and she turns to me for certain things too. We have very intense conversations, right? And we really like each other a lot. It's a deep friendship.
That's
And,
great. And you could develop such a deep friendship at such an age, right?
yes, yes. Well, as I think there was a connection very early.
Well done.
We just, not politically, I have to say. But, so we steer away from that one, but I've enjoyed every minute that we've had together. And happy birthday and all the best.
So now that
Wait,
everybody.
No, Auntie Esther wants to talk.
Oh, I thought, oh, yeah. I'm a much boss, so I'm not gonna talk too much.